Well, good evening to all pro wrestling fans out there all around the world of all shapes and sizes. Welcome to another Pro Wrestling Talk video brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. So, for this video, two things. Number one, I'm going to go over the current standings of the G1 Climax 34. We got 2 nights of action in, so I want to go over the current standings for that. And then I'm going to transition to TNA and give my review on TNA Slammiversary 2024. So, got quite a bit to talk about in this video. So, let's go ahead and get started. The New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax 34 tournament kicked off on July 20th. Got 2 nights of action in for some great starting results, some interesting starting results. So, got my spreadsheet up and ready. Let's go ahead and go over the current standings. As usual, we're going to start with the A block. Here we go. Now, before I get started, I also want to reiterate that for both blocks, we're looking for the top 3 from both blocks that will advance to the playoffs, with the number 1 seeds getting automatic buys into the semis. So that's the perk for the 2 that finish at the top of their block. So just a FYI. Okay. Block A. It's gotten off to quite an interesting start, but let's start from the bottom. So, right now we have 2 competitors sitting at the bottom with 0-2 records, which are Tetsuya Naito and the Great Okan. So let's start with the Great Okan. Right now, the Great Okan has a record of 0-2, no points. He has losses to both Zack Sabre Jr. and Gabe Kidd. So, not a great start for the Great Okan, but still plenty of matches left. But the big shocking surprise is the 0-2 start of the reigning IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Tetsuya Naito. That's right, y'all. He is off to an 0-2 start with losses to Shingo Takagi and Zack Sabre Jr. Ouch. Not a good look for the champ. But, as I've said, it's still early. It's still very early. Okay. We got 6 competitors that have 2 points, that each have a 1-1 record. Those competitors are Shota Umino, Shingo Takagi, Sanada, Gabe Kidd, Jake Lee, and Callum Newman. So let's start with Callum Newman. So 1-1, he's got a victory over Shota Umino, but a loss to Sanada. Not a bad start for Callum Newman. Not a bad start at all. Okay. Jake Lee. Jake Lee, same record. 1-1 with 2 points. He's got a victory over Sanada, but a loss to Evil. Okay. Gabe Kidd, the current NJPW Strong Openweight Champion, is also 1-1. He's got a victory over Great Okan, but a loss to Evil. Okay. Let's see. Sanada. Right now, he is also 1-1. He's got a victory over Callum Newman, but a loss to Jake Lee. All right. Shingo Takagi. He is 1-1. He has the victory over Tetsuya Naito and a big loss to Shota Umino. So quite an upset for Shota Umino. And then, speaking of Shota Umino, he is also 1-1. He got the big upset victory over Shingo Takagi, but he did lose to Callum Newman. So, still very close. Still a lot of tournament matches to go. Okay, and we have two competitors right now with a 2-0 start, currently undefeated, 4 points each. And they are Zack Sabre Jr. and Evil. Let's take a look at Evil. Evil, 2-0, 4 points. He's got victories over Gabe Kidd and Jake Lee. And Zack Sabre Jr., same score, 4 points, 2-0. He's got victories over Great-O-Khan and Tetsuya Naito, the world champ. So, great starts for Evil and Zack Sabre Jr. And a lot are saying that Zack Sabre Jr. could be the favorite to win this whole tournament. We shall see, but he's off to a great start, as well as Evil. But yeah, so that is your A block. Let's see what the next set of matches are. It looks like the 23rd of July is when the A block will start back up again. Let's see what kind of matchups we have. We got Shingo versus the Great-O-Khan. That's going to be tough. Tough match for Great-O-Khan, who's right now 0-2. Let's see. We got Shota Umino versus Gabe Kidd. That should be really good. That should be a good match. Let's see. We got Jake Lee. Let's see. Jake Lee versus Shingo. Jake Lee versus Shingo Takagi. That ought to be really good. And then we got Evil versus Sonata. Oh, man. That'll be a nice revisitation of a rivalry. Evil versus Sonata. And we got Callum Newman versus... Is that Gabe Kidd? No, versus Zack Sabre Jr. Oh, man. Callum Newman's going to have a tough matchup going against Zack Sabre Jr. Woo! I don't like his chances. I do not like his chances at all. But got some interesting matchups for July 23rd, but that's when the next set of A-block matches will happen. Alrighty, let's switch gears to Block B. Alright, Block B. Let's see what we got here. So, we got 3 people right now off to a 0-2 start with 0 points each. And they are El Phantasmo, Hiroki Goto, and surprisingly, David Finlay. Excuse me. So let's look at David Finlay, the leader of the Bullet Club, War Dogs. 0-2 with 0 points, with losses to Yota Tsuji and Yuya Uemura. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty shocking. Hiroki Goto, I can't believe this. Because, you know, I'm a big Hiroki Goto fan. But he's off to a 0-2 start with losses to Yuya Uemura and Jeff Cobb. Ugh, lame. And then El Phantasmo, also off to an 0-2 start with losses to Hinare and Ren Narita. Oof. That's got to hurt for him. But, you know, we'll see what happens. It's still early in the tournament, but rough start for those 3. Okay, we have, let's see, we have two competitors with 1-0 records at two points apiece, which are, let's see, Jeff Cobb and, let's see, Jeff Cobb and it looks like Konosuke Takeshita. Right now with 1-0 records. So let's take a look at Takeshita. Takeshita right now is 1-0. He's got the victory over Yota Tsuji. So very good, very good. Let's see. And then Jeff Cobb, 1-0, has the one victory over Hiroki Goto. Alrighty. Let's see here. Alright, we have 1, 2, 3 competitors with 1-1 records with 2 points. They are Bolton Oleg, Ren Narita, and Yota Tsuji. So let's take a look at Bolton Oleg. He is 1-1 with 2 points. He's got a victory over Ren Narita, but a loss to Hanare. Not a bad start for Bolton Oleg. Not a bad start at all. Okay. Let's see. We got Ren Narita with a 1-1 start. 2 points. He has a victory over El Phantasmo, but a loss to Bolton Oleg. And then Yota Tsuji, he's 1-1, 2 points with a victory over David Finlay, but a loss to Konosuke Takeshita. And then, sitting at the top, we have 2 competitors right now with 2-0 records, with 4 points each, and pretty surprised. But those 2 competitors are Heat Storm Yuya Uemura and Hanare. Of course, right now Hanare is the current Never Openweight champion, but Hanare's got 2 victories over El Phantasmo and Bolton Oleg. Off to a great start for Hanare. And Yuya Uemura. Yuya with 2 big victories over Hiroki Goto and David Finlay. So that's an amazing start for Yuya Uemura. So, wow. I would not have thought that those 2 would start off undefeated, but that's the thing. With these round-robin tournaments, you never know. You just never know what could happen. So, hey, kudos to Hanare and Yuya Uemura on the great start. Now, I know that, Konosuke Takeshita, is undefeated right now, but he's only had 1 match, so that's the only thing with that. And same thing with Jeff Cobb's only had 1 match. But, we'll see how things go as the tournament progresses. Let's see when their next set of matches are. Let's see. It looks like perhaps July 25th. Oh no, there's actually a few matches on actually there's 1 match on July 23rd. And that match is actually Konosuke Takeshita versus Jeff Cobb. So that's on the 23rd. Okay. I mean, they're the only two that, are 1-0, so that makes sense. So, yeah, Takeshita and Jeff Cobb on July 23rd. And then after that, July 25th will be the next, barrage of B block matches. So let's see what we got. Yota Tsuji versus El Phantasmo. Oh, that's going to be tough for ELP. Let's see. What else we got? We got David Finlay versus Hanare. That should be pretty good, but it's going to be tough for David Finlay. But I think it's one that he could bounce back. We got Ren Narita versus who's this? Ren Narita versus Jeff Cobb. Okay. That'll be a tough test for Ren Narita. We got Takeshita. Ooh, Takeshita versus Yuya Uemura on the 25th. Oh, that should be a great clash. And also on the 25th, Boltin Oleg versus Hiroki Goto. That should be. Hopefully, that's where Hiroki Goto will get back on track. Here's hoping. But yeah, got some interesting matchups coming up for the B block. But yeah, your top guys right now, Hanare and Yuya Uemura. Very, very shocking. Very shocking. But of course, Konosuke Takeshita and Jeff Cobb are undefeated right now as well at 1-0. So they should get some recognition. But yeah, very interesting start to the G1 Climax 34. But still got a lot of matches to look forward to in this tournament. And I think it's going to get more and more interesting along the way. So definitely stay tuned. All right. Now, before we switch gears to TNA Slammiversary 2024, here's a quick word on the sponsor for this video, Game Beauty. Check them out. As you continue to enjoy content here at Blitzball Champ Gaming, be sure you take a moment to check out Game Beauty. Beauty inspired by gaming. Game Beauty brings to you video game related makeup and cosmetic products. You have products such as eyeshadow palettes, elemental pearl highlighters, eyeshadow brushes, liquid eyeliner pens by Akidiris, and even non-makeup products like graphic tees. They even have special collaboration makeup kits, such as this Persona 5 Heat Wave Brush Single, Metaverse Bundle, and even a Phantom Thieves limited edition makeup collection. Also remember that Game Beauty provides international shipping of $60 or more. And if you use the promo code BlitzballChamp, all in caps, you can get 10% off of your order. So be sure to use that to your advantage. Now, back to your regularly scheduled video. Enjoy, and thank you. Alrighty, switching gears to TNA Slammiversary 24. Now, I gotta keep it real with y'all. Word is, this event only had 4,100 in attendance. I gotta keep it real with y'all. For this being one of TNA's big pay-per-views every year, 4,100 in attendance, that's not really a lot. That's not a lot at all for this. It's kind of a bummer. It's really kind of a bummer. Especially when you usually see AEW usually in the 10,000s or more, you know, when it comes to pay-per-views, PLEs, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. It's kind of a bummer. But this took place July 20th at the Verdun Auditorium in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So, yeah. I mean, well, I don't know. But then again, I guess I can't really say too much, because when I went to Bound for Glory, when it came to Concord, that was at the Cabarrus Arena and Events Center, and that's only about a 5,500 capacity. So, well, guess it is what it is. Anyway, this show had 12 matches. Originally 11 matches, but they added an extra match on the pre-show. Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised. They added an extra match on the pre-show. I don't have the graphic for it, but yeah, that's what they did. That is what they did. But let's go ahead and get started with the review. Let me get the graphics up that I do have. All right. Okay, let's get started. Okay, starting off with the pre-show, countdown to Slammiversary. Started off with a Fatal 4-Way Knockouts match. You had Tasha Steelz versus Faby Apache versus Gisele Shaw versus Zia Brookside. And shout out to Tasha Steelz rocking the Cruella de Vil ring gear. I thought that was pretty cool. I've met her before. She's really cool. But yeah, she looked good in her Cruella de Vil ring gear. And apparently Faby Apache or Faby Apache, apparently is from AAA. So I didn't know that. This was my first time seeing her. And apparently Gisele Shaw is a face now, which I did not realize that she's a face now. And of course Zia Brookside, really cool. Met her as well. Match wasn't too long. It was only maybe just right under 6 minutes and 30 seconds, I believe. But yeah, it wasn't a long match, which, I mean, with it being a pre-show match, usually don't expect them to be long. But it was a pretty decent match. I liked what I saw. Of course, I wish it could have been longer. But Gisele Shaw really got to cook in this match, so I thought that was pretty neat to see. But even after Gisele Shaw laid out Zia Brookside with that knee strike, Tasha Steelz comes in, tosses out Gisele Shaw, makes the cover of Zia Brookside herself, and steals the victory, steals the pin. Tasha Steelz, your winner of this Fatal 4-Way. I mean, hey, she's a former Knockouts champion and tag champion, so I mean, really can't be surprised, right? I mean, she's that good. She's that good. She know what it do. And then again, I've met Tasha Steelz, and also I've first came across Tasha Steelz as far back as Queens of Combat. So, go way back. Go way back. But yeah, she's awesome. She is awesome. I find it shocking that she's 36 years old. I did not know she was in her 30s. I thought she was much younger. But yeah, she's 36 years old. I was like, what? What? But yeah. All right, let's go on to our next match. Let's keep it going. Okay, now this was originally supposed to be KUSHIDA versus Jonathan Gresham, but due to a whole bunch of travel issues with the whole crowd strike, the big hack job that happened that messed up a lot of people's travel plans, and Gresham was one of them. So his replacement ended up being Rich Swann. So this match turned into a singles match of KUSHIDA versus Rich Swann. Now the interesting thing about this is KUSHIDA comes out rocking the Jinsei Shinzaki, aka Hakushi, gimmick. That's right, had all the characters all over his body, on the front and on the back, on his face. And yeah, he was pretty much mimicking Jinsei Shinzaki. So, thought that was pretty neat. I wish the match would have been longer. I mean, but then again, it was a pre-show match. It would have been nice if it lasted 10 minutes. But for the most part, KUSHIDA had this match. Although Rich Swann did get his, offense in, but this was definitely a match meant for KUSHIDA to win, which he clearly did. Was able to hit the hoverboard lock on Rich Swann and make him tap out to it. So KUSHIDA with the submission victory, as even though he's the time splitter, for this match, he was pretty much a Jinsei Shinzaki clone. Which he looked pretty cool. So, he pulled it off well. But KUSHIDA with the victory. Alright, let's go to our next match. Alrighty, we have the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships on the line. As the champions, Masha Slamovich and Alisha Edwards of the Malisha, defended the titles against Dani Luna and Jody Threat of Spitfire. So yeah, these two teams got a chance to run it back. Of course, the Malisha dethroned Spitfire to win the titles in the first place. So they ran this back. Pretty decent match. Of course, these two teams faced each other before. They're not strangers. But overall, decent match. Nothing too crazy. Pretty much the turning point was, Jody Threat charging in to Masha Slamovich, but they had one of the tag title belts on the turnbuckle. She ended up hitting that. And then pretty much that spelled the end for Spitfire as the Malisha hit a Doomsday Bulldog on Jody Threat. Alisha Edwards makes the pin, 1, 2, 3. The Malisha, still your TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Champions. So, not really surprised there. I didn't really see them losing, to be honest with you. So, with this being Alisha Edwards' first title run, I think she needs to have the title for a while. So, not surprised at the outcome there. But, pretty decent match. It was 8 minutes, 45 seconds. Not bad. Okay, and then they had one more pre-show match which got added. Santino Marella came out and added this match. I don't have the graphic for it, but it ended up being a singles match between Eric Young and the returning Hammerstone. So, that match happened on the pre-show. It was not a long match. It was not a long match at all. I think it may have barely been 5 minutes, but not a long match. It looked like Hammerstone was getting ready to put Eric Young either in a torture rack or hit the nightmare pendulum. But Eric Young was able to slip out the back and then pretty much pin Hammerstone with a schoolboy for the 1-2-3. Eric Young, with many would say a big upset victory over Hammerstone. Hammerstone was pretty upset. I'm surprised he didn't attack Eric Young after that went down. You know, him and the ref just kind of got out the ring and he went on. I was kind of surprised that he didn't attack him. Yeah, I was really shocked. But Eric Young picking up a victory in his home country of Canada. So, hey, it is what it is, you know? It is what it is. Anyway, let's continue and go into the main card. So, for the main card, let's see. Starting off, a match I really wasn't hyped for, to be honest with you. But, yeah, this was what started off the main card of Slammiversary 2024. Singles match, Matt Hardy versus JDC. JDC, which is Johnny Dongo Curtis. I mean, nothing really special, to be honest with y'all. I mean, this match didn't even last 5 minutes. Didn't even last 5 minutes. So, I mean, match really wasn't that good. I mean, Matt Hardy got the victory, hit an avalanche twist of fate, pinned him for the 1-2-3, and then hit 2 more twist of fates after the match. I mean, I guess to get revenge for Jeff Hardy, but honestly, the match was garbage. The match was garbage. I mean, the match was 4 minutes, 40 seconds long. The match was garbage. So, and like I said, I wasn't really excited for the match in the first place, so I'm really not surprised that it ended up being this crappy. So, it is what it is. Not surprised at all. Okay, let's go on to our next match. How about another title match? Let's do it. Okay, the System are back in action once again as the TNA World Tag Team Championships were on the line as the champs. The System of Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers defended against Ace Austin, Chris Bay, the ABC. Solid match. Definitely a very solid match between these two teams. The ABC has really gotten quite a good amount of momentum going into this match. But I have to say, this was a solid match. I felt like this is really where things started to get really good for the show, was this match. And while the System, I felt like they had the momentum for most of the match going in, especially with how the pacing and how this match was going, I think really ABC started to really get going about middle of the way. And then really just things started to fall into place for them right after Alisha Edwards tried to interfere, and she ended up getting caught by an art of finesse from Chris Bay. And then pretty much ABC just went on a tear and then eventually laid out Brian Myers after hitting the 1-2 sweep, which of course is art of finesse, the fold, the 1-2 sweep equals 1-2-3 for the pin. Ace Austin pinned Brian Myers. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The ABC are now 3-time TNA Tag Team Champions. TNA World Tag Team Champions. So, ABC got the gold once again. And not really surprised. They are a phenomenal tag team. They've been excellent since teaming up in the first place. And now they are 3-time tag champs. So congratulations, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, the ABC, on becoming 3-time tag champs. Great match. Really great match. All right. Let's keep it going, and let's go to the next match. More singles action. Let's take a look. Okay. We got a singles match between Mike Santana and Jake something. Now, I felt this was a pretty decent match, but I really would have wanted it to be a little longer. Like maybe if it was like 13 or 14 minutes, I think it would have been good. It was 11 minutes, 40 seconds. It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was a pretty good match. I just wish it could have been longer. That's really my only complaint about this match. But this was a good back and forth match. Got to see power and speed and agility from both of these competitors. And this was a pretty fun matchup. It's a very interesting matchup indeed, but this was a fun matchup. Definitely was digging this. It was back and forth. I felt like both guys complemented each other in this match just through what they brought to the table. But Mike Santana would prevail as your winner after laying out Jake something with a spin the block, then pinning him for the 1-2-3. Mike Santana, your winner. He's really been on a pretty big roll since returning to TNA. So we'll have to see how things go for him after this big victory at Slammiversary. All right, next up, I gotta be honest. Next up, this was pretty much my favorite match of the card. Here we go. All right, we got trios action as we had the Rascalz, of course, Zachary, Wentz, Trey, Miguel, Lee, taking on the No Quarter Catch crew of Tavion Heights, Charlie Dempsey, and Myles Borne. Shout out to the Rascalz rocking matching Buzz Lightyear inspired ring gear. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But this was a very fun match. Very exciting, back and forth. I thought this was, just from start to finish, I thought this was a great match. I know some of the timing could have been a little bit better with some of the sequences. Could have been a little bit better, but honestly, I was very hyped for this match in the first place. And I guess I'm kind of biased with that, but I was pretty hyped for this match. And I felt like it delivered. 14 minutes, 10 seconds. Yeah, it could have been longer, but honestly, I'm not going to hate on it too much. But overall, it was just really great to see the Rascalz back together again. Had excellent synergy, as usual. And, you know, of course, Wesley, he was representing NXT here. But overall, match was a lot of fun. And Zachary, Wentz, got the pin on Tavion Heights after hitting an unfired flame. Of course, that assisted standing shooting star press. But the Rascalz pick up the victory at TNA Slammiversary. Like I said, really great to see them back together. They're a phenomenal trio. And yeah, not surprised that they picked up the victory. Alrighty. let's go on to this next match. Yeah. Next match. So, this match was not only for 2 titles, the TNA Digital Media Championship and the Canadian International Heavyweight Championship, but this was also turned into a Montreal street fight match. The champion, AJ Francis, defended against PCO. Started out with AJ Francis thinking that him and his boys took out PCO, but then they ended up reviving PCO and he ended up fighting, and then, yeah. Saw chairs being used, tables. Honestly, I just wasn't really that invested in this match. And that's just me keeping it real. I already wasn't thrilled about the matchup in the first place, so I just really wasn't that invested. And yeah. Rhino ended up showing up and pretty much assisting. And their odds were definitely against PCO, but it's PCO. It's PCO. So, it is what it is. But PCO ended up getting the victory. He hit one PCO assault. AJ Francis kicked out. So it eventually took a second PCO assault to put away AJ Francis to win both championships. And then after the match, Stephanie Lander came down dressed up like Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family, and she proposed to PCO, which he said oui, which is yes in French, and put a ring on his hand, which looks like a big clear ring pop. At least that's what it looked like. But yeah, PCO, your new digital media champion and Canadian International Heavyweight Champion. Like I said, the match was meh. Wasn't really that into it. Wasn't really that into the matchup, but new champs. That's all I got. Okay, let's go to our next match. Here we go. All right, we have the TNA Knockouts World Championship on the line. As the champion, Jordynne Grace defended against Ash by Elegance. Now, while I wasn't originally excited for this matchup in the first place, I'll go ahead and say this. I honestly think this was Ash by Elegance, one of her best matches ever. Ash by Elegance, Dana Brooke, whichever you want to call her. I think this was one of her best matches, just as far as her being showcased. You know what I mean? Because think about it. Back in the WWE, how often did you see Ash by Elegance, Dana Brooke on a PLE? Think about it. I really felt like she did pretty well for this title match on a pay-per-view like Slammiversary. I think she did a good job. And it's a bummer because I don't like her gimmick right now. I really don't like her gimmick, but she has at least been able to show that she can do a little something in the ring. And I just felt like that was one thing that was holding her back in WWE, is just her not being showcased enough. Like, she has the ability, she just needs the opportunities. So I felt like this was a good opportunity, and I felt like she made the best of it. I really do. I feel like she made the best of it. But just was not enough, as Jordynne Grace was able to eventually, it took a bit, eventually put away Ash by Elegance with a Juggernaut driver. And of course, you know, was able to even the odds a little bit as Rosemary was able to scare off what you call it? Was able to scare off the concierge. Yeah, Rosemary was looking on. But Jordynne Grace, Juggernaut driver, pin Ash by Elegance for the 1, 2, 3. Still your TNA Knockouts World Champion. And honestly, I really have no idea who's going to be the one to dethrone Jordynne Grace, but she's been on a roll. Especially coming back from Japan with 2 victories in Sendai Girls, especially one being over Big Hosh, Chihiro Hashimoto. So, hey, she's doing her thing. She is doing her thing. All right. Let's go to our next match. All right. We have the TNA X Division Championship on the line. As the champion, Mustafa Ali defended against Speedball Mike Bailey. Now, don't get me wrong. This match was great, especially back and forth. I mean, you got 2 great wrestlers in this match. But I felt like it got a little overbooked. Very overbooked, if you ask me. But it was kind of an interesting ending, and just everything that led up to it. So, I mean, you had Mustafa Ali's cabinet committee interfere. You had Champagne Singh interfere. The referee got taken out inadvertently by Speedball. And it was pretty much set up for Mustafa Ali to pretty much finish off Speedball, even hit 2 450 splashes on him. And then once the referee was able to make the count, he got pulled out by Trent Seven, disguised as one of the SWAT members or whatnot, and pretty much laid out the cabinet and folks. And then before eating a dive through the middle rope by Mustafa Ali. And then took a chair to Speedball to get him grounded once again. And then he calls out Earl Hebner. Hall of Fame referee Earl Hebner. Which I will admit, this was very fitting for what they were trying to do, considering Earl Hebner was the referee behind the Montreal Screwjob. He was the referee behind the Montreal Screwjob. So they pretty much tried to reenact that again as Mustafa Ali put Speedball into the sharpshooter. And while it looked like Earl Hebner was going to call the match for Mustafa Ali to win, he didn't do it. Mustafa Ali let go of the hold, got mad at the ref, at Earl Hebner. Then Speedball was able to take advantage and take out Mustafa Ali. And then he puts him into a sharpshooter. Mustafa Ali ended up tapping out. Therefore, Speedball Mike Bailey is your new TNA X Division champion. So, quite quite an interesting finish. I mean, you normally don't see Speedball win via a submission, but I definitely see what they were going for with the involvement of Earl Hebner. So I definitely get what they were going for. But With all that said and done, Speedball Mike Bailey is now a 2-time X Division champion. So congratulations to Speedball Mike Bailey. Had Veda Scott, his wife, in the crowd as well. So that was cool to see. I've met them. I've met Speedball. I've met Veda Scott. They're really, really cool. And then the main event of TNA Slammiversary 2024 came down to this. Here we go. All right. You have a 6-way elimination match for the TNA World Championship. Your competitors, you had the champion Moose of the system defending the title against the walking weapon Josh Alexander, the heavy metal rebel Frankie Kazarian, the Steve Macklin, Joe Hendry, and Nick Nemeth, the wanted man. Okay. Of course, crowd was heavily favored for Joe Hendry. I mean, he was the first one that came out. But this match was very, very intense. Very action-packed. I mean, it lasted over 30 minutes. But some interesting turn of events throughout this match. So here is how the eliminations went. So I actually didn't expect this, but Steve Macklin actually got eliminated first. Moose eliminated Steve Macklin after a spear and then pinning him. And the big shocker, which I think really got everybody hyped, was Joe Hendry eliminating Moose, the champion, that early on in this match. He eliminated Moose after hitting him with a standing ovation, then pinned him for the 1-2-3. And at that point, it's like, wow, Joe Hendry could be on his way to winning that title. I mean, it's already a big enough statement, eliminating the champion, the second to be eliminated. That's a pretty big deal. But then Josh Alexander, the walking weapon, does the unthinkable, hits a low blow on Joe Hendry, then hits the C4 spike and pins him for the 1-2-3. And the crowd just lets it all out and just started booing the mess out of Josh Alexander right there in Canada. Remember, Josh Alexander, he's Canadian. So, yeah, wild. Really, really wild. And Josh Alexander has turned heel. Started beating up on Joe Hendry even after getting the elimination. But, man, yeah, that was crazy. Really crazy. Then Nick Nemeth ended up eliminating Josh Alexander, hit him with a super kick, and then covered him for the 1-2-3 a little while after that sequence. So it all came down to the final two being Nick Nemeth and Frankie Kazarian, who had gotten taken out through a table over by the stage outside of the ring, but, of course, he never got eliminated, so therefore he was still in. So it came down to Nick Nemeth, Frankie Kazarian. It went back and forth. It was close. It was really, really close. But Nick Nemeth was able to eventually hit a super kick on Kazarian, then hit the danger zone, and then pinned him for the 1-2-3. And ladies and gentlemen, Nick Nemeth is your new TNA World Champion. Which he was one of the three that I could have seen win this match. But you gotta really wonder what direction they're going. Because, I mean, the most over wrestler, Joe Hendry, was in this match. And he looked like the strong favorite to win, especially after eliminating Moose. But looks like they got a storyline brewing between Josh Alexander and Joe Hendry now. But I think sooner or later, Joe Hendry's going to become TNA World Champion. He's super over with the fans. He's great in the ring. And he's just continuing to show that. And he's been part of the NXT TNA crossovers lately as well. So Joe Hendry building up more and more and more stock. And this could have been really the event for them to put the title on him. But they went with Nick Nemeth instead. So we'll see how that goes. Not a great night for the system. Losing the tag titles and the world title. I mean, the Malisha are the only ones left with gold, which means Alisha Edwards is the only one in the system left with gold. So, funny how that went about. But overall, Slammiversary 2024 was all right. It was all right. I mean, I just think for this being one of TNA's big pay-per-views, I think they really missed an opportunity to have some crossover with NXT. I mean, yes, I understand Wesley is NXT and he, joined up with the Rascalz for a match here, but I really feel like they missed an opportunity for, a little bit more NXT TNA crossover with this event. They missed an opportunity. But overall, still a pretty good show. I am hoping that Bound for Glory will be a lot better. That's what I'm hoping. But we shall see. And they also announced that Turning Point, which will actually be in North Carolina, Winston-Salem, as part of WrestleCade for this year, which I'll be at WrestleCade. So looking forward to checking out that show. I believe tickets go on sale for Turning Point this coming Thursday. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out for that. But yeah, not bad for TNA. Their next upcoming events. So they got Emergence. That'll be August 30th at Louisville, Kentucky. So that's their next big show, is Emergence. And then they got Victory Road in September 13th, Cleveland, Ohio. Let me look at the venues, actually. Emergence will be at the Old Foresters Paris Town Hall in Louisville, Kentucky for Emergence. Victory Road will be the Temple Live Cleveland Masonic in Cleveland, Ohio. Interesting. And like I said, you got TNA Wrestling Turning Point. That'll be November 29th, as part of WrestleCade, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, which WrestleCade will be at the Benton Convention Center in downtown Winston-Salem. So yeah, definitely looking forward to checking out Turning Point. I think it'll be great. But yeah, tickets go on sale Thursday. So yeah, totally down. Totally down. Which that is, Turning Point, that is on a Friday. The November 29th, that's on a Friday. From 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Okay. Right on. Okay, cool deal. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. Don't forget to check out Game Beauty whenever you all get the chance. And Let me know, how are y'all liking the G1 Climax 34 so far, New Japan Pro Wrestling? How you like the matches so far? Who are your picks to win the blocks? And let me know what y'all's thoughts were on TNA Slammiversary 2024. What did y'all think of this year's Slammiversary? What did you think of the matches? Let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell while you're at it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. For another Pro Wrestling Talk brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. My name is Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. Hope everybody has a blessed start to the week, and I will see y'all in the next video on our live stream. Take care. Peace.